Hey all, welcome to Parker's Reefs. On today's episode we're going to wrap up and give an overview of what is Australia's largest aquarium expo, the Underwater Pet Expo. Alright, thank you for joining me on another episode of Parker's Reefs, and today I want to give a little bit of an overview and a wrap up from Underwater Pet Expo 2022. It is an event that I run and create, and it is Australia's largest aquarium expo, and it encompasses both freshwater and marine. In fact, anything to do with pets that live underwater can be showed at Underwater Pet Expo. And I've got to tell you, the event is a ridiculous amount of work. It takes a lot of time, creates an incredible amount of stress. I'm probably a little bit grayer and a little bit more wrinklier than I was 6 months ago. But I have to say, when the weekend comes and you see everyone having such a fantastic time and people interacting in person, having a look at new products, buying some coral, or watching the nation's best aquascapers go head to head, it does make it all worthwhile. And I have to say, funnily enough, I found this event probably even more work than it was in 2020 when it was my first attempt at a show like this. And I thought it'd be a little bit easier in 2022. Turns out it was a lot more work, but probably a lot more rewarding as well. So I figured I've got some footage here for you. I didn't get quite as much as I thought I would across the weekend, mainly just because well, I was flat out on my feet the whole time, but I did get a nice little lap of the building when it was in full flight to show you what everyone was bringing to the event. And I managed to capture a little bit of extra detail on some of my highlights of the event. So I'll roll that footage, give you a voiceover, take you through it, and then we'll wrap things up at the end. Now, whilst I had a number of highlights from the event, I didn't actually get the opportunity to get them all on camera as in-depth as I did as the Addicted to Fish stand. Now, there was one secret little thing here that was hidden away, the first one in the country, the ITC Reef Delete. Now, this was the brand new version, the updated one with the easier to press button and the stronger or more focused beam of UVC. Now, for those who don't know, this is basically an underwater torch that you can use to sterilize aptasia and other unwanted things. If you've got some corals that are growing out of control, or you've got Majanos, or you've got aptasias, whatever it may be, you can actually get this torch under the water and radiate them, which was super, super cool, brand new in the country. So that was just a very shy little thing on the booth here, but something that was not shy was this huge Focustronic display where you could see things like the Aquatronic actually powered up and showing how it works there. So you could open up the hood, have a look at the chamber, the pH probe, all the dosing lines, how the unit works. And of course they had Reddy Redwood there, who is the, I was going to say the Australian expert on all things Focustronic, but let's be honest, he is probably the international expert in all things Focustronic, and he was there to run through all of your Focustronic automation requirements, including showing things off like the Dostronic there, again, out, and so you could see it, touch it, open it. This little device here was pretty interesting and cool to see in person. It is the Powertronic, so all of these devices can then switch on or off other devices, which is pretty cool. And of course the Mastertronic, which I know very well because I do run one very frequently on my Dream Reef tank, and you can see how it all works there with the carousel of vials, the pumps to bring the water in and out, the syringe, the actuator, all of the things there. And like I said, the opportunity to see all of these devices in person, speak to an expert on how they work together, and then work out how and how much it's going to cost to put the devices you would require in your tank was an absolute highlight for me. This little banner or poster or whatever you want to call it, was fantastic, showing how all of these devices can communicate with each other, from the Alcatronic to the Mastertronic through to the Powertronic, of course the Dosatronic and everything else Tronic. The full range was on show there, which was just a opportunity I have not had before, and like I said, speaking to someone in person just made a huge difference rather than trying to work it out from either YouTube videos like you're watching now or just reading things online, which just personally was not the same. Reddy Redwood did also have the everything Focustronic there range of spare parts, not just the devices themselves, and I did pick up some new silicone vial lids, but you have everything there from complete vials to syringes to dosing pumps to dosing tubes and holders and things like that, all was there. Now, moving on to the next highlight of the event that I did actually get some footage of, and that was the freshwater aquascaping contest. I have to say the theme across the entire expo was just how high a standard the freshwater guys brought to this expo, and the aquascaping competition was absolutely probably the jewel in the crown of that. When you have a look at these tanks here, these guys scaped these tanks in the space of one day. We're talking about 7 hours worth of work, where they all had access to the same equipment. Absolutely incredible. And you can see how close the tanks are. There was a crowd around them. There's cameras filming. There's pressures from seeing how other people are doing. There's all sorts of challenges. Plus, you know, you're on a concrete floor in a fairly cold exhibition building, and the standard of aquascapes they put out was absolutely sensational. Like I said, these were all done in a day. This is the morning of day 2. The tanks are still settling in reality, and they look an absolute treat. This is Jagdeep's tank here. This was our eventual winner. He's now gone back-to-back champion in 2020 and 2022, so well done there. But in reality, I could not pick one scape that I didn't love the look of, and I just think every single one, they took some different approaches, which was super cool too. I don't know anything about the freshwater world, but I couldn't help but have my breath taken away looking at these tanks. So hats off to each and every one of our contestants, because I think they've absolutely lifted the bar of aquascaping in Australia. Now, I will move on because I did get a little bit of general footage. I was hoping to go and get a lot more in-depth footage, but you can see here we got Shrimp Lovers over there and the Aquarium School here. Both of those guys put on fantastic booths full of information and some good products as well. We have already touched on the Addicted to Fish booth here, and you can see Reddy Redwood himself there talking through a crowd about how they can make their tank completely automated and hands-free, and it was an absolute treat to have the man himself there doing this all day, every day. The poor guy needed a seat and a cool drink at the end of the day, but we'll move on over to the next booth here. This is Aquatico Aquarium, and they had some really nice scapes set up here. In fact, some of these fully scaped tanks are absolutely gorgeous. Gotta love the depth and dimensions they've got in these. One of those aquascape tanks was just for a beta, which I say just for a beta, it was the only fish in there, and it just made it look like that beta was living in a fairy tale. And you can see their booth was absolutely flat out with all of the livestock and dry goods they had there, plus just plenty of beautiful displays like this, which draws you into their display. I was very, very impressed with their booth, and I also was very, very impressed with the freshwater stingrays they had there, which such an interesting and unusual animal. I particularly like this guy at the back here, the black one with the white spots. He just seemed to have a real personality about him, and the eyes just told a story. Like, he had just depth in those eyes. That look at him sitting on top of another one here. I don't know if that's a sign of dominance or something, but he sure seemed like he was the boss of the tank, and I wouldn't disagree with him. Such a beautiful, beautiful specimen. Very, very cool. I don't know anything about stingrays, let alone freshwater stingrays, but I know they can fetch a pretty penny, and I can completely understand why. Now, we must keep rolling because there is lots and lots to see. Fish Fuel Co. came all the way down from Adelaide to showcase their range of Australian-made foods for both freshwater, saltwater, turtles, axolotls, and you can see here they were doing a really great job interacting with all of the junior aquarists at the expo, which I did personally appreciate very, very much. We must keep rolling though, because there is so much to see. Over here to the left, we have Newtown Aquarium. They had some really cool displays, as well as a great range of live goods from fish to plants. I want to showcase to you this tank down here on the left, this freshwater system again for a beta with an AI prime on it, a Seachem tidal power filter, and this beautiful scape that is half under the water surface and half above the water surface. Something about the simplicity of this system, although I say simplicity, it could be quite complex, but it looks simple to me, and I think that's what it's trying to achieve, is just making you think that nature's just doing its own thing. And I tell you what, it looks an absolute treat, and it's doing a brilliant job of bringing people into their booth, because it showcases what is possible with their products, as does this tank here, which is a fully grown out aquascape in there. And you can see the team were busy netting fish and plants all weekend, which was completely understandable. Now over here we have Easy Caves. We'll get back to those guys in a minute with their Australian made products for pleco breeding. Over here we have Aquaristic, who brought in a heap of Seachem products to sell on the day. Over there we've got Deer Park Aquarium, who have a huge assortment of sea torch dry goods, as well as a massive amount of corals, inverts, bubble tips. They had all sorts in there. I know their red biscuit stars were absolutely very popular. Paul Tuyen Tran brought in some of his artwork that he builds, his 3D UV reactive artwork, as well as some air fresheners, some stickers, some postcards. I'm pretty sure he sold everything, which is completely awesome. Aquaristic, they're doing their thing. Over here we have Chris from Coral Creatures showcasing all of his live goods from phytoplankton, copepods, baby brine, other items like that for both freshwater and saltwater. We can see Easy Caves over there. These are the Australian-made stackable products for breeding plecos. Super, super awesome. Over here we have the team at Aquapix who are flat out selling all of their supplements and dry goods as well. And they're very, very popular, good Australian-made products there. Local in Melbourne, of course. Over here we have Oz Aquariums, who had this beautiful scaped tank here to just get your attention and bring you into their booth. And man, that thing looks like it's 1,000 years old. It's so well grown in. It's hard to believe that they're able to just pick it up and move it into a shed for the expo. Over here you can see the team having a look at the brand new water box tanks, both the Peninsula and the standard one there. Have a look at the beautiful water cut the beautiful water cut bracing on that system. Beautiful, beautiful indeed. Of course, some of the smaller water box tanks here from their Peninsulas and their Cubes, all out of the boxes, so you can have a good look at them and get an idea as to whether it's going to work in your house or not. You see the team from Reef Factory there waving away. Over here we have Tropical, Cheerios. Tropical have a huge range of foods, much more popular in the freshwater world, but I know they do some saltwater applicable foods as well. Aquaforest were there as well, of course, showcasing the wall of purple, all of their products there. Bubble Magus as well. Let's see what else we can find. There's some beautiful dry scapes here in the Oz Aquariums booth as well. This one looks like it's ready to take home. A much smaller one there with some stone, which was pretty cool to see. What else can we find? Over here, we've got Reef Factory, of course. Now, we had two guys out from Reef Factory to be able to talk through all things automation on your reef tank and their huge range of new products and where they're going in the future, which was cool to see. And then there was a display tank in the front here showcasing their lights, their doses, their testers. All of their products were set up on this tank. Well, maybe not all of them, but a good number of their products with an iPad there, so you can see what the app looks like and how you can view the status of them or make some actions from them from the app there. So cool little interactive setup there, so you can see how that all goes to plan. Then over behind them, I apologize for talking so fast, but there's so much to cover. We've got the Aqua One booth. These guys always bring a huge range of products, so you can have a look at all of their tanks and dry goods and see what's going to work for you. Got our presentation space here, which we had presentations on the hour, every hour for both days. Let's see what else. Coming over here, there's a bit more at Aqua One here. We should see if we can get in there, although they're quite full at the moment. You see they've got a lot of desktop tanks there and some smaller ones, 2 foot, 3 foot ones, as well as then on the outside edges, they've got some of their larger tanks as well, just to showcase the full sort of breadth and range of tanks they do carry. Over here we have Delua. We might get in if we can and have a look at their system here. They've got a beautiful aquascape system from Jag Aquatics, our aquascaping champion. Jag does work with Delua. He's got his own range of glues and supplements, and this tank here was to showcase that. Beautiful system indeed. This one you can see some tissue cultures in there just starting to seed, and they'll take off soon enough. And Delura, of course, have a huge range of marine goods as well, from their pumps, their skimmers, their lights. You can see a nice little Cade system here showcasing their lights there, and then over on the table here you can see the full range of lights from the Blaze to the Vitamini to the Pixel, the brand new Pixel. And of course you can see their full range of the ecosystem there on that big banner, as well as the products there on the left. But I'm going to get out of their way for the minute, head on over and see another one of our major sponsors of the event, Nature Pets and Aquariums. These guys had a huge wall of fish for sale, as well as these beautiful aquascape tanks. So these tanks, these Cades systems were all ready to go. You could literally pick them up and take them home with you. Or you can see over there on the right, they had a good assortment of both freshwater and marine ready to go scapes. So you could just pick it up, pop it in your tank, or buy a tank and pick it up and pop it in there ready to go. You see all the fish there. The guys were busy bagging them up. Super busy. Had some great show specials too on some canister filters and some other products. A full range of the Fluval canister filters there, which as a marine guy, I don't know a lot about them, but I'm told that they're the best of the best. So makes sense to me. You can see some more of the scapes on the other side of the fish wall there. Over here we've got George and Michelle from Aquariums Australia. We'll just have a quick look at some of the fish and plants on this side because it is a double-sided system. But yes, over to Aquariums Australia, the team came all the way down from Sydney despite the flood weathers, brought along their range of Max Spect, Fauna Marine, Octo, and were there all weekend so you could chat to them and get a good feel of how the product's going to work in your tank. And here we have Cade Aquariums, but actually just before we do talk about Cade, I did nearly miss this massive Octo commercial skimmer here that Aquariums Australia brought in just to demonstrate some of the commercial range that Octo has. But let's get back on over to Cade Aquariums here. There's a couple of really nice tanks in here that Adam has brought along to the event to showcase just what you can do with these fantastic tanks, as well as to talk to people about the new range that is out, including the white cabinetry, the caddy, the desktop mini, all of the new products that Cade announced at Reef Stock Australia. For those who weren't able to make the event in Sydney, they could come and see them here in Melbourne. Now over to the side here we have Aquarium Society of Victoria. They were there to chat to people about how their club can help you find your feet and meet or get you introduced with like-minded people so that you can help each other through your aquarium journey. This is just one of the marine setups at the Cade display, and beautiful little scape, really taking advantage of the shape of that mini reef there. That is the Reef Series 2 Nano, the all-in-one reef, which it's quite a nice little setup, I must say myself. Coming around the corner here, speaking of corals, Lamb came down from Sydney at the Fish Are Friends booth. You can see him chatting here with David from a Reef Factory, but he had a good range of corals as well as a good range of freshwater shrimp items there, and the man was busy all weekend, bagging up no shortage of corals for all the Melbourneites that made their way out. Over here we have Aqua Depot and Aquaplant Culture, showcasing both their range of live plants as well as the dry goods that Aqua Depot bring into the country. And there's some really nice tanks in here. There's a beautiful scaped one at the front here, just showcasing some of their plants as well as some of their hardware as well from Tunzi. You can see the magnet cleaner and the wave maker in there, as well as the lights and some other beautiful pieces there. Also a beautiful little paludarium here with a little fog machine in there just to create a little bit of mystique, I guess. And I tell you what, it looks a beautiful setup there. I quite like those little paludariums that have that bit of water down the bottom. You could probably get some, I don't know, some tetras or something in there and sort of make the plants the spotlight and the fish sort of behind the scenes. But either way, it works really well. And the team, as I said, Aqua Depot bring in a range of products as well, and they had a number of these here on show. You could come in and see we've got all sorts of things here from Tunzi. You can see GHL with their Mitris lights there, the Tunzi algae reactor and their glues and magnetic rocks. Coming on over, well, yeah, you can see the Profilux. You can see the team walking through some of the benefits and advantages of the Profilux setup over some of the competitors. Got a good assortment here from Kamoa, their dosing pumps and auto water changes, and their brand new KH Carer here. This is their automated alkalinity tester and doser. And then you've got Apex with their range of, with the Trident, the Neptune, the flow sensors, the pumps, all sorts of things there. And of course you got their RODI systems as well. Across the petition or pathway here, we've got Aqua Premium, who I have to say Chris from Aqua Premium was flat out all weekend. I barely got a chance to catch up with the guy, showcasing his full range of products, including Aqua L here, lovely little system, beautiful aquascape going on in there. They had all of their freshwater and saltwater products there, and I know Chris was flat out showing everyone the benefits of his products and why you should potentially choose them over some of the other options out there on the market. And he had this really cool, in fact we might see if we can find it, this really cool sump showcasing these products. Had some smaller tanks there as well, as you can see. Nice little Aqua L Nanos, the Royal Nature Salts, and here is the brand new sump system he had made for this show. This showcases all the products. There he is himself walking through some of the JBL Pro test kit options there. But this sump that was made showcases all of the items. You can see Polyfilter in there, you can see Aqua L, you can see Marine Pure, you can see JBL, all the products in there working an absolute treat. And just sometimes, particularly with dry goods, it's really nice to actually see how they work and what makes them different. Like the heaters here, you can see the digital displays on them rather than just looking at a dial. You can see the power from the power filters. You can see how much water is absorbed by the Marine Pure, and you can see what contaminants the polyfilter is pulling out. Very clever idea, and of course they got some pumps in there running as well, just to showcase what JBL can do. Down the bottom here, still on that same sump system, you've got the Aqua canister filters, and you can see all of the other products there. Royal Nature, Polyfilter. They had a bunch of show bags there from JBL. Great little booth that had plenty of people there across the entire weekend. Now over this corner here, we have Amazing Amazon, who had some absolute bargains there at the weekend. You can see they had set up for bulk cash and carry systems going on there. So from fluval canisters through to heaters and to Bioscape tanks, they had it all there. And speaking of Bioscape, across the pathway you could see the Bioscape booth here with some really nice setups in here, from the paludariums through to tanks through to some of their bulbs, I guess you'd call them. I'm not sure what the actual name is, but the sort of closed off ecosystem. They looked an absolute treat in there, and that is always a booth that gets me interested in freshwater, believe it or not. Then we come across to Fluval and Jewel in here, showcasing some of their beta tanks, their lights, their canisters, their heaters, their products, and Jewel of course with their tanks. And then in the corner here we had Red Sea. We had Lee from Red Sea out, sort of the international representative for this part of the world, doing all he could to showcase Red Sea's products on the market. Over here we had Nick, a big retailer from Queensland who does love a bit of Red Sea action, also brought down a heap of corals. You can see him smiling at the camera there. Nick's a good friend of mine, and he brought some of the tastiest corals down from Queensland. Got PIAA here, the Pet Industry Association of Australia. Aquarium leasing specialists were there, showcasing what they can do in regards to bringing a tank to your home or school. And we've got A1 Aquarium there, selling all sorts, all the dry goods and even livestock there, complete tanks, everything one could want. And believe it or not, we are almost there. Just the last part remaining of the tour is the UV art exhibition, which I have gone around the floor plan backwards, but this was the only chance. I got across the entire weekend and I've gone backwards, but it doesn't matter because everything still looks the same no matter which way you walk around. We had this done by local artist Kate Kelly, who did an incredible job just making some things that normally exist underwater, exist above the water, yet still showcasing the amazing color and pop you get from them. So we had some things like some canvas paintings through to some coral structures there. You can see some Monty Digis and some Acroporas there. You got Monty Caps down there. You can see the black lights there, just making sure they glow. Some more Monty Caps, some beautiful anemones there, some rose ones through to some tequila sunrises. Have a look at that big picture in the background. Super cool. Love the way that turned out. The big anemone there. Beautiful big jellyfish there. Some more Monty Cap. We've got some fungias over here, some starfish. Beautiful angel picture here. That guy just, the black of that picture just disappeared. It almost looked like the angel was just floating in the water there. But speaking of angels, we've got a big emperor angel's the word I'm looking for there, doing the same sort of thing there. Looks really cool. I do love the way Kate really captured some of the colors and energy that these animals bring to our aquariums and brought them in a above ground sense, which was really cool. But it does almost get us through to the final part of the tour, and it gives me a chance to take a breath and take in how cool the show was. We had 3,500 people come through the doors across the weekend, which I think it was a pretty cool achievement, and I have to say it was a heck of a lot of work, and there were times when I wasn't sure if I could continue on with it, but we got there in the end, and by all accounts the show was a big success. So if you did make it out to the show, thank you very much. Alright guys, there you have it. That was Underwater Pet Expo 2022 in Melbourne. What the future holds for this event, I must admit I'm not 100% certain. I am at the stage in my career now where my current job is potentially going to be made redundant, and that will mean that I'll be looking for new work elsewhere. Whether that will afford me the time to run events like this in future, who knows? In fact, maybe I won't get a new job and I'll just focus on YouTube and Underwater Pet Expo events across the country. Who knows? I cannot say at this stage, but I'd love to hear your feedback below. If you went to the event, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Without people coming to the event, it simply doesn't happen. And as touched on in the video, there were 3,500 people that made their way through the doors across the weekend, which is a absolutely mind-blowing, and I had an absolutely fantastic time despite the huge amounts of work and stress. Once that weekend hit, it was absolutely incredible, and I want to thank you all. If you were an exhibitor or if you were a patron that came through the doors, thank you very much, guys. I really do appreciate it. But yes, if you'd like to see this event happen either again next year in Melbourne, again this year, or another year in another part of the country, please do let me know, because I am currently weighing up options to see what happens with Underwater Pet Expo into the future. Anyway, guys, I'll wrap things up there. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, stay safe, keep reefing. Cheers, bye.